Hey folks, welcome back, or of course, welcome to Lone Pine Tarot. If this is your first visit here, either way, thank you so much for choosing to join me for our Pick a Card reading today. Now, today's reading is technically a message from your spirit guides, but specifically we're asking for a message for when you're feeling lost. So if you're here, it's probably because a part of you has been feeling lost, and perhaps you haven't really had the space to admit it. So this reading is a chance for you to take a breath with me and choose the pile that gently calls to you so we can find the clarity your guides have been trying to bring you to help reduce that feeling of being lost. Now, today we are picking with 3 different tarot decks. We're choosing with the star card of each of these decks, very fitting as the star in tarot represents times when we feel like we're at our lowest or we're not sure what to do. But the card reminds us to have hope and faith in that things will get better. So without further ado, let us introduce the pile. So for pile 1 today on the left, you're choosing with the Wild Reflections Tarot. And here is your star card for your deck. Beautiful. For pile 2, you're choosing with the Spacious Tarot. And here is your star card for your deck. And last but not least, for our wonderful pile 3, you have a more seasonally themed tarot deck. Though, of course, my readings are timeless, so this message is perfect for year-round. But you do have the Yuletide tarot today for yours. And very fittingly, you have the star represented by a Christmas tree. So quick refresher, pile 1, Wild Reflections, pile 2, the Spacious Tarot, and pile 3, the Yuletide Tarot. Though, as I always say, you are perfectly welcome to pause right here if you need more time to decide what pile you would like read for you. If you're new to Pick a Card readings and you're like, Lone Pine, help me choose, my method of suggestion is always just to close your eyes, taking the deepest, most calming breath you've taken all day, especially if you've had a really stressful day, right? Let it back out again and ask your spirit guides, give me a number 1 through 3. And whatever is the first number that comes to your mind, that is the pile I recommend you choose. So when you're ready, whatever method you use, you can drop down to the description box below, find the timestamp for your pile, and I will see you in our chat about a message for when you're feeling lost. See you in the reading, everyone. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 1. Welcome today to your Pick a Card reading on a message for when you're feeling lost. And of course, as you recall, you chose your tarot deck to be the Wild Reflections Tarot today. Absolutely gorgeous card and deck in general. And I love this particular star card because the way she's sitting almost makes it seem as if she doesn't have much. She's just sitting on a rug and it almost looks like a desert. She has what looks like tea in front of her and just one little candle of light. It's like she's doing the most with what she has, even as she hopes for more. So it almost makes me wonder, pile 1, if you're in a similar situation right now. Maybe that's why you've been feeling lost. Maybe you're trying to make do with what you have, but you're not quite sure how to gather more resources in order to accomplish more of what you're trying to do. Or maybe you've been just dealt kind of a sudden blow and you're feeling like, man, all I have are these little pieces left remaining from whatever this blow was, so to speak. And where do I go from here? But we will see with the tarot cards. I'm going to pull your tarot spread first. More details into the nitty-gritty of what's going on. And of course, we'll gain the message from your spirit guides and their advice. And maybe even a bit of a glimpse into the future too to help reduce that feeling of being lost. So let's put that star card right back into the deck. Calling on the spirit guides of pile 1 today, who chose the beautiful Wild Reflections Tarot. Can you tell me a little bit more about their situation? What's going on? Why are they feeling lost? Why shouldn't they feel lost? Or what do you want to tell them that will help them reduce that feeling? What guidance do you have for them? Okay, we have first up the 8 of Swords. Yes, we feel trapped, pile 1. There's a sensation of being trapped. That's what the 8 of Swords is all about. You can see in the way that this figure is wrapped up in string. And she's blindfolded here in the, almost looks like the mirror of the pool of the, I don't know if it's like a pond or a lake, but either way, she's like, man, I'm stuck. So yeah, stuck, making do with what you have, but feeling like you don't have enough resources in order to do more, as I was saying with the star card that I described in the beginning. Let's pull out your other cards too. That will get some more clarity. And there is number 5. Beautiful. Let's unveil those. So yes, you're feeling lost because you feel trapped, I think, pile number 1 in some way. Now that might manifest in many different ways for all of you. As I said, it could be resources. It could be feeling trapped by circumstances. It could be feeling trapped by maybe even yourself. Maybe there's something that you wish you could do, but for some reason you feel like you just don't have the information you need, or like the confidence mustered to be able to go forward and do the thing that you want to do. It's that kind of sensation. All right. Then in the second position card, okay, we have, speaking of maybe feeling like we don't have the confidence or the strength for something, we have strength reversed. And this card is in the position in this particular spread I made just for this video of what's causing the confusion or what's causing this feeling of being lost. And the strength card reversed in that position, pile 1, as I said, lack of confidence. Especially being reversed. It's a lack of feeling like you're able to do something, or like you feel like you can't do something. I do see, of course, outside circumstances affecting this, as it always does, but I think part of it, too, is this internal feeling of, am I good enough? Or, do I have the courage to be able to take life by the reins and go forward with this thing that I have in mind? It's that sort of sensation. Or maybe it's like you feel lost because there's this feeling of, how to put it, pile number 1. I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase it. Well, let's get your other cards down on the table and then we'll weave everything together. We have the Death card, okay, which means change. And that is in the position of the heart of the whole matter, plus the general guidance that your spirit guides have for you. He's in the eye of the storm, too. You can see that right there. There's a big cloud swirling around. There's horses running around, and he's calm in the middle of the chaos. And then in the 4th position today, which is reassurances as well as next steps, we have Justice reversed. Lots of major arcana. You have 3 major arcana, pile 1, strength, death, and justice. Let's see what the last one is. And this is like your outcome or final reassurance card. Another major arcana, we have the High Priestess reversed. Oh boy. What I will tell you, pile 1 and 2, and this is at least the way I tend to read tarot cards. When I see a lot of major arcana in a spread, so you have 4 major arcana. Literally, the only one you don't have is the 8 of Swords. The rest of them, strength, death, justice, High Priestess, all are major arcana. And what that tells me as a tarot reader, pile 1, is that this feeling of being lost has been quite pivotal in your life. Maybe you've kind of been in this fog for a long time, or it's been at least quite prominent within this particular phase of your life. Maybe you have felt like this is the main obstacle you've been facing right now. And so it's why you might feel really desperate or eager to overcome whatever this is, because you're like, I just want to know, what direction do I go, or how do I overcome this problem I've been having? Okay, so this is important to you. I can tell that from the major arcana. It's also, I think, a really pivotal part of your life path, your life lessons, as in my personal belief, pile 1, that we all live life with lessons to be learned for our soul in this particular incarnation that we've come to Earth for. And I think this right here, because of these major arcana, this is a major life lesson. And pile 1, what I'm going to tell you, this major life lesson revolves all around that strength card. That strength reversed. I wonder if for a long time, maybe even your whole life, you've struggled with confidence issues. And no shame there. A lot of us do, myself included. I've had plenty of self-esteem and confidence issues myself in the past, still do to this day. It's something I think we all wrestle with kind of eternally and in waves in life. Sometimes we're a lot more confident than other times. Sometimes it's, it's like a valleys and highs and lows versus mountains and you know what I mean? It's not always just an easy plateau of, oh, I overcame this one thing. Now I'm confident and I'll never feel insecure or lacking self-esteem or lacking confidence ever again. No, but I think part of the issue is, pile 1, is you feel like, how do I put it? You feel trapped because of that 8 of Swords. You feel stuck in one place. But the issue is here, pile 1, is that you're stronger than you think you are. That's what it is. it's like you believe that you don't, like, you're not good enough, or you believe that you're not, it's just that sensation too, once again, of like, like that bravery, that courageousness. You're like, well, I don't know if I really can do this thing, or I don't know if I'm strong enough to overcome this problem I have. But that's the delusion here, pile one, is that you are. You are strong enough to overcome these things. And that's why this strength card is in the position it's in, pile one, is because Spirit is basically saying, or your guides, I should say, specifically, why don't you believe in yourself when we can see in you the ability to break out of whatever it is that makes you feel trapped? Okay. And as I said, yes, there are outside circumstances that I'm sure, for, if not some of you, at least many of you, that are playing a factor in the reason why you're feeling lost. As I said, it could be that, maybe there's like, you're feeling trapped by a lack of resources, or you're feeling trapped by like a lack of information. Like, those things can play a role, but because sometimes those things are outside of our control, pile one, the best thing we can do when we feel lost and we feel like everything is completely out of our hands and we feel like we have no control over our own fate is to muster up our courage and face life and say, you know what? Yes, it feels like the whole world is against me. Yes, it feels like everything I'm doing, I feel like I was given a really unfair shake here. And I do see that too with Justice Reverse. There is a bit of unfairness here, pile one. I'm not saying that there isn't. But to face life with that courage anyways, because basically what your spirit guides are saying by popping out that card, pile one, is that you have reasons to be more confident in your future than you think you do. It's actually a compliment, pile one. It's actually them saying, hey, you know what? I don't know why you're looking so down on yourself. We don't know why you feel that lack of courage, because if we were in your position, pile one, we would feel plenty bold and we would feel plenty confident, because we would know. Well, and that's the thing, pile one, is that spirit guides have a lot more clear of a perception of ourselves than we do. We get stuck here in this 3D world, and we get stuck and mired in, our past experiences shaping us. We get stuck in, not always the most clear and accurate self-perceptions of ourselves because of, many different factors. But spirit guides have really clear, piercing insight, pile one. And what they're saying to you is the way that we see you, which is clear and which is true, is that you have reason to feel more confident in yourself than you think you do. Okay. Now, next up in the central position, the heart of the matter here is the Death card. It's also on some of their gentle guidance. And death in tarot, pile one, is all about change. There's something here that they want you to change. Okay? If you're not finding change outside of yourself, the answer then is to find and try to evoke change within yourself. Now, I'm already going to tell you that change is partially boost your confidence. Try to work on your confidence. Try to work on your self-esteem. Okay, that will help you a lot with whatever you're feeling that is making you feel lost in life. Okay, that will also help you feel a lot less trapped by circumstances and a lot less trapped by, in general, even just like trapping yourself, as I explained earlier. I mean, sometimes when we lack confidence, we can box ourselves away in this little tight square thinking, well, how could I ever be strong enough to break beyond this box or break beyond these chains? Okay, but your spirit guides are saying you do have that power, pile one. What it all hinges upon is change through the power of the Death card here in the very center of your reading. Then we have the Justice reversed card. That is your reassurance or like next step. I think another factor playing into a lot of why you feel lost right now is partially this unfairness. That's what Justice reversed means, pile one, is something is unjust. I wonder if there's something in your life where you have been, like, people have not been fair to you, or like a system has not been fair to you, or there's something, like, if you're thinking of a specific reason why you came to this reading, pile one, right, you're like, you said to yourself, I feel lost about this very specific thing. There's a factor in that specific situation where there's something unfair to you. So spirit guides are saying, pile one, please recognize what has been unfair to you and try to work on fixing it and trying to rebalance again. I almost wonder, because of the confidence card with the strength reverse playing such a big role in your reading today, if it might be that other people are walking on you and you don't push back enough. Okay, that might also help free yourself from these circumstances, is to push back a little bit, not meanly, and you know not to be mean, pile one. I can already see it from your energy here. You're not a mean person, but there's nothing mean about saying I've had enough and you need to stop walking all over me. Okay, that's what these cards say to me, especially Strength Reversed and Justice Reversed, is the confidence to say this is unfair and you need to stop to other people, pile one. And then we have the High Priestess Reversed as like the final outcome, or like the final piece of advice and reassurance from your spirit guides, from your tarot spread at least. We also have some oracle cards to draw, which let me just start drawing those while I'm talking about the last card. So pile one, the High Priestess Reversed in that particular position is one last gentle nudge from your spirit guides saying, I apologize, it's going to be a bit repetitive. It's kind of like the Strength card, because the High Priestess card is all about intuition. Reversed pile one, it's a situation where you have not been listening to yourself enough and your own intuition enough. That also builds confidence. So if you find yourself doubting your intuitions or doubting inklings that you have, Spirit is saying not to doubt those anymore, because it is impeding you in some way. It might also help you with when it comes to reading other people's intentions, especially if you feel like you have been walked on a lot with that Justice Reversed card, like lately in the situation. It also will help you build confidence, because the more you listen to your intuition, pile one, and the more you realize, oh, I was right, that inherently builds confidence in saying, oh, well, I can trust my own voice. And that boosts your self-esteem. It boosts your belief in yourself. And then you can become almost like your own white knight, helping save yourself from the situation. Okay. Let's draw, that's just that one. Okay. And then let's unveil these two, and then we'll draw the last two. So from the Soul Mirror Oracle, we have Judgment, critical versus complementary. All right, we're going to set that one actually over here on the left. Then from Healing Spirits, we have natural healing power, number 6. So part of the message too, this might seem kind of out of left field, pile one, is for you to rely a little bit more on the natural healing power of nature. I almost wonder if you need some time away from other people a little bit more, especially if you've been feeling judged a lot lately. Like with the Judgment card that popped up here, I almost wonder if maybe part of the reason why your confidence has been low is because you've been in situations, maybe, way in the past, but also even in the current, where people around you have been very judgmental, very critical, and that naturally, pile one, would affect anybody's confidence in things. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe you feel like, you've been trying to do something or accomplish one thing, and you thought you were doing okay at it, and then this critical voice came along and said, well, actually, no, and then tried to undermine your confidence, and then now you're feeling lost because you're like, well, am I really meant for this? Am I really good enough for this? Okay, so your spirit guides are also saying, if that resonates with you, pile one, not to listen to these outside voices that are being extra critical. Okay. And then from the Surrender deck, we have surrender your need to always be right. Give others the gift of letting them be right. Be yielding, not rigid. And this will help resolve conflicts and improve your relationships. We'll talk about that more in just one second. I'll also draw your Lantern Oracle. But yes, as for the nature part too, like getting back to what that really means, depending on your weather and where you live, see if you can't withdraw from society a little bit more. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can be even just a 5-minute little, 10-minute little nature walk a day, pile number one. Like, say you're at a workplace that's very critical, or you have someone there that's very judgmental and critical. Try to reduce your time around them as much as you can. Maybe go for like a really small walk out in nature around where you work, when you have a break, when you have your lunch break, etc. It also might be too that you would do well to do like nature-oriented meditations. There's tons of them on YouTube. Just search in the Google, not Google, blah. Well, I guess it is because Google owns YouTube. You know what I meant? The YouTube search bar, and type something like, nature meditation. I promise you'll find a ton of them. And then let's look at your Lantern Oracle. Creative power, number 12. Release your alchemical energy into the world. Yes. You might have also been feeling lately, pile 1, that your creative energy has been blocked. I don't know if some of you, like, maybe this is related to a creative endeavor of yours. Maybe, you felt like you put something out there that was creative and other people were judgmental about it, or maybe people in your circle have been like overly critical of your work, or maybe sometimes it can even be self-judgment too, pile 1. Maybe that confidence problem kicks in and you say to yourself, well, oh man, I suck. Or it's like you always look everything you do over with like a really critical eye. And Spirit is saying, why don't you just try to create and don't look over it with a critical eye? Just like nature does. Like when nature creates things, pile 1, does it look at everything it creates with a scathing eye and say, hey, that leaf I grew isn't perfectly symmetrical, so it must suck? Like, well, no. It creates, and it just is. And it allows itself to just be. Right? So that's how you should view your own work, pile 1. View your own work the way that nature would view itself. It's created, it just is. It's perfect the way it is, because naturally by coming into being, that's the way it was meant to be. Okay. I think, too, you need to create more projection of your soul into the world. And what I mean by that, pile 1, is not shying away from sharing your voice and who you are and what is meaningful to you. I think especially through creative power. I think that's why that card specifically came out. It's basically saying, even if it's hard to speak through your own voice to stand up for yourself, pile 1, maybe let some creative projects speak up for you too. And that also might help you reduce the feeling of being lost. Is sometimes when we feel lost, pile 1, really what it is we feel like we haven't explored, what's the best way to put this? We haven't explored different avenues yet. Sometimes to find your way, you have to start taking paths that you don't know the ends of when you start taking them, and then you can always go back and say, well, that didn't work, let's try this other path now. Creativity is like the apex of that. It's literally, to be creative is to experiment and to try new things. Okay, so maybe imbue some of that in your actions too. Now, the surrender you need to always be right card. That sounds weird on the surface, because what it basically on the surface would mean is like, you always try to be right with other people. I don't think it means it that way. I think what it means for you specifically, pile 1, is advice from your spirit guides, similar to what I was talking about with the nature thing. Everything you do doesn't have to be quote unquote right or perfect. Okay? There is no perfect. Absolutely. There's never been perfection ever. Okay? The only perfect thing in the world is the light of souls. Okay? And creation and God, spirit, whatever you want to call it, right? As humans, our lives are supposed to be messy. We're supposed to make mistakes, pile 1. Okay? So when you see this card, surrender the need to always be right, take that as advice, not, necessarily with other people. I know the card says that, but winding it together with your other cards, it's surrendering the need to always be perfect, as in right. Okay? And that will free you. And everything else we've talked about today should help you feel a little bit less lost, okay? So just remember, to summarize, don't worry about the judgments of others. Work on your confidence. Be willing to make changes that would improve your confidence. Remember the death card, because that means change. If you feel like other people have been quite judgmental of you or walking all over you lately, please let justice be your guiding light in that aspect. Don't be afraid to push back and say, hey, you need to stop trampling me. Okay, speaking of like the horses running around in the death card, no more trampling. And listen to your intuition. Create pile number 1, okay? Maybe also take advantage of the beautiful healing power that nature offers you. Take a nature walk if you can. And specifically, I'm hearing something about, I don't know why, this is really weird, but something about you stargazing. Stargazing, for some reason, I'm hearing would be a really good activity for you. So maybe look into that if you haven't already if you're not quite sure, like, what nature activity to do. I think stargazing would be a really good one. All right. So that's your guiding light today, pile number 1 from your spirit guides on helping you feel a little bit less lost. I hope, of course, most of all, that the reading helped you. That is my number 1 priority with our readings, but also that you liked it and it resonated with your situation. If so, you know the drill, you know the old YouTube spiel. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already. I know it sounds like just the tiniest little things, but every little bit, I promise you, helps the channel so much in helping it grow and keeping my mission going of healing people and empowering people through tarot. So thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things, if not more. And as is our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, pile number 1. A very healing and hopefully more calm rest of your day. And I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 1. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 2. Welcome today to your pick a card reading on a message for when you are feeling lost. And as you recall, you were drawn to one of the most beautiful tarot decks I own, is the Spacious Tarot. And we have this particular incarnation of the star card as a pine forest, like someone looking up through the canopy towards a really bright star above. So because you were drawn to this card, pile 2, I almost wonder if part of your particular, I guess I want to say, like, brand of, like, why you feel lost today is, like, I don't know, maybe you've been walking through life not 100% sure of what direction you want to take. Maybe you've been facing a choice and you haven't been quite sure which choice to make. Or perhaps life has been, continuing the metaphor of the dark forest quite, well, not to repeat the word, but dark lately. Maybe a lot of more unfortunate things have been happening recently. Maybe it's felt like this really long, drudgery and this trudging through this murk and this mire. And what you came to this reading for was that little glimpse of light, just like the star above the forest, and saying, oh, there is a way out. There is something I can follow to find my way. So without further ado, let us draw your whole tarot spread. I'm actually going to put your star card back into the deck so it's available if need be for the message. And let's call on your spirit guides. Spirit guides collectively for pile 2 today. Can you tell us a little bit more about their situation? What's going on? Why do they feel lost? And what advice do you have for them on that? Thank you. Interesting. We have the 6 of Wands as your first card. 6 Wands and the Crown of Leaves in the first position. Okay, there we go. There's your 5 cards. Okay. First position, 6 of Wands. Second card for you today, pile 2, is Judgment. Speaking of walking through a forest, look at that, literally, it's like walking through this stark forest and then there's a portal just beyond to the next world. Yeah, you're looking for a way to the next chapter. You're like, where's the next chapter? How do I get there? I've been stuck here in this one place for so long. I just want to keep going. And that's what Judgment really does mean, pile 2, is, well, I always call it the level up card. It's like being in a video game and you're like, I'm ready for the next level now. Let me go to the next area. I'm done with this place, okay? Third card, the heart of the matter, is the Sun reversed. Beautiful. But reversed, it can mean, maybe some of you have been depressed lately. Maybe that's what the dark forest metaphor really was all about. Because, depression itself can feel like a really long dark forest, pile 2. It can feel like there is no light. But then ironically, we have the Sun, which is the card of light. Then in the fourth position, we have the 8 of Swords. Interesting. Pile 1 had that too today. I wonder if that's kind of a collective message. Lots of feelings of being trapped. That's what that card represents. And then we have the 5 of Swords. So some air energy at the very end here. Beautiful. Okay, so my spread is a bit different today than my typical one. I did more detail it specifically towards this message. So in the first position, that card represents why you feel lost today, pile 2. And it's interesting because you've got the 6 of Wands, which is typically a very positive card, pile 2. Oftentimes it represents victory and public acclaim and success. Being in that position, though, I almost would read it kind of like I would a reversed Six of Wands, where you feel like you haven't gotten the success that you've been looking for, or you haven't been able to feel victorious over something. Now, that could be, depression, for example. Maybe you felt like you've been battling with this depression and you feel like I can't gain victory over this thing. I want to get out of this dark forest, metaphorically, but it feels like every single step has been a struggle, in which case my condolences, pile 2. Never a fun situation to be through. But even for those of you that don't have depression, it could be in general. Spirit guides are saying they do recognize a situation where, like, you've been seeking success with something, you've been seeking acclaim with something, public victory over something, but maybe it has been eluding you. Maybe you've been feeling like, I don't have that success that I really want deep down. I want to overcome this. And, just using the metaphor of the dark forest again, leading into the Judgment card, which that card is in the position of what's causing this lost feeling or this confusion. Judgment is all about, as I said, leveling up. It's about going to the next level. Sometimes it can literally mean judgment, though, as in something being, in the action of being judged. So could be self-judgment, could be judgment from others. Maybe you have a bit of a struggle with the old saying, comparison is the theft of joy. Maybe you compare yourself to others who are at your age in life, pile number 2, and you say, man, how come I'm not at that milestone yet, but they are? Or it could also be situations where, you feel like everybody else, around you or that you see on social media, like, oh, their lives are so great. How come they have this thing and they have that thing? But man, I just feel so lost over here. I feel so far behind what they have. That can also be kind of a way that you would weave a bit of the Six of Wands energy in there too, especially with the public energy of that card. AKA maybe social media has been playing a part too. In general, it might also be too a feeling that you feel behind, a feeling that you feel as if everyone is ahead of you, or you feel as if it's like, though with the success part, it's like you're like, well, if I could just get this one thing, maybe I could get to that level where I feel like I'm on the same level or have the same acclaim as everybody else that I might be comparing myself to. Well, here's the kicker, pile number 2. And you're going to think this is really weird. You're going to be like, what? What are you talking about? Because that Judgment card came up in the second position, which is the confusion or like why you feel lost, what spirit guides are saying to you is you're actually farther ahead than you think you are. You're going to like, what? And you're in farther ahead in the way of your spirit and your soul. Whatever it is that you've been struggling with, be it depression, be it you not attaining something you've been seeking, getting success with something, etc., it has made you stronger. Okay? You might feel like on the outside you look less than others, or you feel like you look behind other people, but really, that Judgment card is you're the one that is leveling up. Oftentimes in life, pile number 2, at least in my personal opinion, now you might disagree, but how I view spirituality and struggle in life relates to when we have times of struggle, it's because it's teaching us a life lesson within our life path plan for this particular incarnation that we have on Earth, the life that you're living right now. And what that tells me about you, pile 2, is that what you have been going through, this dark forest feeling, whatever that dark forest has been for you in the literal sense, it has matured your soul a lot because of what you've been through, and it's made you farther ahead in spirituality than some of the people that you've been comparing yourself to. Now, that's not to say, like, I'm saying, like, oh, you're so much better than them, or they're so much worse than you, or whatever. It's not really a comparison type thing, but really what your spirit guides are saying is, not in the sense of comparison, but in the sense of uplifting you and saying to you, pile 2, maybe you're not as far behind as you think you are. Maybe you're not as lost as you really think you are. Okay? Maybe you found more wisdom and truth than other people at your age or where you're at in life because you've been through, comparatively, I'll just be honest, maybe you've been through hell compared to those people have been. Not that they haven't had struggles too, but there is a pride to be derived from the things that we endure. Okay, it's kind of like when it sounds cheesy maybe, but it's the metaphor I like to use. It's kind of like when we get a wound and we get a scar. And we look back and that scar is the evidence of, oh, I survived whatever that was, okay? So your spirit guides are saying maybe view what you've been through more as scars to be proud of in terms of this is proof that I endured rather than the shame of, well, other people endured less than me in terms of, wounding situations or, other people have more than me. Think of yourself as advanced in terms of your spirit pile too, because of what you've been through, and maybe even because of your struggles attaining the things that you think other people have more than you. Okay? There's a lot of growth in having less and in struggling more. That's what that level up means with the Judgment card. Now, I haven't even talked about your other cards yet. Not to speed through things, but I should keep moving. Because we do have Oracle cards to actually draw too. And let me draw those as I talk about your other cards here. Now, in the heart of the matter, we have the Sun reversed. Now, that particular card in the spread represents part of the guidance that spirit guides have for you, as well as maybe kind of what the central theme is here. And what that tells me about your situation pile 2 is, yes, I think some of you maybe have been going through depression. That's my first intuitive sense was when the Sun reversed came out. It can also represent lacking truth in some way. And what that means is I think you might not be seeing yourself in the correct way. And now I already explained a lot of that with the whole, view your life as... I have been made strong because of what I've struggled through rather than other people have suffered less than me and I feel like life's been unfair, okay? View it more as the truth of I am a survivor, I've been a warrior, okay? I haven't been a victim. Actually, a card just fell out in my lap, so we're going to take that for your card today. Beautiful. And then, let's see, I'm going to draw your surrender deck here. And then... the Eight of Swords in the 4th position, pile 2, is the card of reassurance, also a next step. You're kind of similar to pile 1 today. And it's interesting because they got that Eight of Swords too. And the Eight of Swords represents feeling trapped in some way. But the twist on the Eight of Swords, pile 2, is it's a card of you can free yourself if you believe in your ability to free yourself. Okay, so I think that relates to that perspective switch on yourself that we already talked about. In that, if you see the truth of who you really are in a more positive light, pile 2, you need to pat yourself on the back more, I guess, to summarize. It happens a lot in these readings. A lot of people, I'm like, you need to pat yourself on the back more. I don't know if our collective on this particular channel is like, I don't know, you guys need to love yourselves more in terms of like, you need to pat yourself on the back more. Anyways, but it's true, like, if we don't believe we can, oftentimes we don't. But if we believe we can, we do. So that's kind of what that means, pile number 2. And then in the 5th position, speaking of 5, we have the 5 of Swords as the outcome or final reassurance. That's interesting, too. It's like the 6 of Wands, where typically it's kind of an odd card to come out for that position, because the 5 of Swords tends to represent conflict, can represent betrayal. It can represent a sense of the battling of different ideas in the mind, especially if it's more an internal battle rather than an external battle. Once again, that makes me think of that warrior energy we were just talking about. What I would say to you when I'm hearing intuitively pile 2 is to view your feeling of being lost as a battle to be fought. Like a warrior. Instead of thinking I'm someone on a pilgrimage, on a journey, having things happening to me, think of it as I'm a warrior on an adventure, here to take down anything that stands in my way. That's kind of the perspective switch I'm also hearing from your spirit guides. Think of yourself as a warrior. Speaking of those cool battle scars we were just talking about, maybe that's why that metaphor came up with the scars. You're tougher than you think you are, I guess, to summarize pile 2. And then we'll weave these 2 as well with more of the messages we get from your oracle cards. Okay, we have number 10, assistance with access. It is necessary to ask for and accept help in order to receive it. Okay. Maybe a bit of you, or some of you are a bit too hyper independent when it comes to dealing with your problems. I could totally relate, pile number 2. 100%. I'm like that myself. I have that sense of, well, I don't want to bother other people by asking them for help with things, so I'll just suffer alone instead of asking for help. Okay. Sometimes, though, in life, we can't do everything alone. We can't do everything alone, pile number 2. If you're feeling lost, another piece of advice you're getting here from that card is ask for help from those around you. You don't have to do it all alone. You don't have to be hyper independent, pile number 2. You don't have to shoulder all this burden on your own shoulders like Atlas holding up the world. Okay. That's another piece of advice. We have surrender procrastination. And the text says, now is the time to jump on a goal instead of putting it off. Taking action will attract success. All right. Being more, what's the word? It's eluding me at this point. Proactive. That's the word. There's something in your situation that you've been feeling lost with, whatever that means tangibly for you, where maybe you've been procrastinating a little bit too with something, pile 2, in which case your spirit guides are also saying, don't hesitate. Jump into something. Okay. Then we have judgment, critical versus complementary. So just like pile number 1 today, they had the 8 of Swords, and then also they have this judgment card, literally. That can be self-judgment. It can also be judgment from others. That is probably highly related to what I already explained with the comparison to others, where maybe you look at other people and you judge yourself harshly in comparison to them, or you feel like maybe they judge you harshly too. Because it's not just ourselves that judge ourselves. Sometimes other people judge us too in life, as we all know, and that can also knock some of our confidence. What that card means, though, pile 2, is to let go of that judgment. If it's judgment from others, throw it in the trash. I always tell people that on my readings. I'm like, you know what? When people are being like overly judgmental, you don't have to listen to them, pile number 2. You can just throw what they're saying in the trash. If you're being too overly judgmental of yourself, however, double-edged sword, throw your over-judgment of yourself in the trash as well. I mean, you know, I'm saying that lightheartedly, but like literally, you don't have to be so hard on yourself, pile number 2. Okay. And then let's look at this one. Ask your spirit guide. Well, you are asking your spirit guide. You know what I'm hearing about that intuitively, though, pile 2, is I think they want me to draw one more card for that. Let's see, that's number 15. Actually, any numerology here? I'm not seeing any repeated numbers. I just wanted to make sure before I drew this last card for you. So I think if you find asking for other people for help, that will help you, pile 2, out of your feeling of feeling lost. Maybe jumping into things a little bit more instead of procrastinating might also help if you're finding that message resonates with your situation too. Which we all procrastinate sometimes, pile 2, so don't feel like extra, you know. I do it myself. I'm sure everybody that, if everybody watched this video and commented down below, do you ever procrastinate? Everybody would be like, yes. So, yeah. Everybody does it. But in your particular situation, pile 2, it might be a good idea to jump into things faster. All right. And then from your Ask Your Spirit Guides, the High Priestess reversed. Pile 1 almost, or I can't talk today. Pile 1 almost, or also, oh my god, I can't talk. I'm getting tongue-tied. Slow down. Pile 1 also got this card today. Okay, I got it out. So Ask Your Spirit Guides, the High Priestess reversed. Okay, other than me stuttering for about 5 minutes. The High Priestess reversed represents, pile 2, a situation where we're not listening to our intuition enough. We're not listening to ourselves enough. Okay, I think you might have been getting messages from your spirit guides outside of this reading that you hadn't been heeding, or like you haven't been hearing. Not because of your own fault or anything, pile 2, but I think maybe you've been just so distracted with things and, you know, so busy. And then also too, especially if you've been struggling with depression, pile 2. Totally understandable why maybe you're not like 100% spiritually connected or like aware right now, or at least in terms of, you know, I mean, sometimes it's like turning in like to a radio and then like tuning to the right channel. Sometimes when we're depressed or like our emotions have been kind of low, we don't even bother turning the radio on to hear those messages from the other side. But I think if you lean into your spirituality a bit more, if you find that you're agreeing, like, yeah, I haven't really been tuning in much because I've been feeling kind of low, you might find that your spirit guides will send you more specific messages about helping you through this situation where you're feeling lost, okay? So listen to your intuition more. That's what that card means, pile 2. When you ask your spirit guides, listen to your intuition. Don't doubt it first thing out of the gate. I almost wonder, too, if you're a little bit too hard on yourself in that way where, perhaps you get intuitive messages, but then because of maybe not believing in yourself or having lower confidence in your intuition, you kind of throw it out. You're like, well, that can't be true. Spirit guides are saying, well, why are you doubting yourself? Why are you doubting that intuition, pile 2? So if you can, it might be a good idea, pile 2, to try some meditations for connecting with your spirit guides. There's a ton of them on YouTube, which, once again, I was telling pile 1 about this too, because they had very similar advice. Though theirs was specifically about nature, you specifically, pile 2, I think you should tune into spirit guide message meditations. I think that would be a really, really good piece of advice to follow here if you choose to do so. But yes, let's see if there's any other messages here regarding why you're feeling lost. I mean, if there's any one last capstone I would put on this reading for you, pile 2, just remember, this is what they're telling me to remind you of, and it's like the last parting message. Anything you take away from this reading, take this. You are better than you think you are. You're farther ahead than you think you are. Recognize the ways in which you're farther ahead than you think you are, okay? It's like I was saying, you need to pat yourself on the back more, but, it might be a good idea even to journal as well, pile 2. Every single night before you go to bed, or every single morning right after you wake up, or maybe even while you're just in the shower or bath and you have a moment to yourself. You don't even have to write it down physically if you don't feel like it. Think or write to yourself, what is one thing I did today that I am proud of myself for? What did I do at work today, or with my family today, my loved ones today, or for myself today that I can pat myself on the back for? And that, I think, will help you both with some of, if you've been feeling emotionally low, but it will also help with you feeling less like you don't have as many victories as you think you do. Did I word that right? I'm trying to say, you think you don't have as many victories as you do. You're better than you think you are. That's what I was saying. Remember the message with the 6 of Wands and the Judgment card, pile 2. All right. You're leveling up and you're farther ahead in ways you don't even conceive. Okay? And that's the thing spirit guides have. They have that piercing insight. They know, they can see us very clearly in ways that we can't. And what they're saying is that pile 2, you think you're a student, but really you are a master in some ways you don't recognize. Okay? So recognize the ways in which you're a master. Write those things down or mentally think about them. What am I proud of myself for today? What did I do today that was better than yesterday? Okay. Think of things like that. All right, so that was your reading for today, my wonderful pile number 2. Other than some of my stuttering, I couldn't get that one phrase out. Apologies for that. I guess I just had a bit of a brain fart, but we got through it. That's good. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that the reading helped you. Number 1, that's my number 1 priority with these cards, tarot readings in general. And also that you liked it, that it resonated with your situation. If so, the old YouTube spiel, the drill. I just gotta say it to remind you. Please like, comment, subscribe. Any one of those 3 things, if not all 3, helps the channel a lot. And thank you so much if you choose to do so. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. And I hope to see you in the next reading, pile 2. Bye. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 3. Welcome today to your pick a card reading on a message for when you're feeling lost. And as you recall, your tarot deck of choice is the Yuletide Tarot. Perfect for if you are watching this in the month it's uploaded in, but who doesn't enjoy a bit of holiday cheer year-round as well? So, as we do when we choose with tarot decks, I like to put the card of choice back into the deck. before we draw your tarot spread to begin. So, calling on spirit guides collectively for pile 3 today. Can you tell me a little bit more about why are they feeling lost in life? What's going on? What's causing this? As well as your guidance and your gentle advice for them on finding their way. Again, thank you. Okay, we already have the first card out. Let's draw the others. Beautiful. Okay, pile 3. Your first card today in the first position is the World. Okay, very beautiful. That might mean that part of why you are feeling lost is related to the end of something. I don't know if maybe you're afraid that something will come to an end or something did come to an end and you feel kind of lost after that end point. Like maybe you had a goal in mind and you're like, okay, I got that thing done. Well, what do I do now? Okay, that might be one way that is manifesting itself. It could also mean that like I said, it could be a future tense thing where you fear that something might come to an end. That or the World card can also mean the gateway between different chapters in our life, pile number 3. Maybe you're trying to figure out what is your next step with something, or you're trying to figure out what is my next chapter, or, how do I get to the end of something? It could also be that you're lost on the way to trying to find the quote-unquote like exit of something or like the end point of something. So your other cards will provide more context, but that is what I'm seeing right off the bat with the World card in the first position. And then we have the 8 of Gifts or Pentacles, as it's known in most decks. We have someone that is, well, quite hard at work wrapping a bunch of different gifts. And that is exactly what the 8 of Pentacles represents, pile 3, is being hard at work. It's often compared to like a blacksmith card. As a blacksmith forges things, he hammers away at things. So I think you have been really hard at work on something too, pile 3. Or you're facing a period of time that is like a lot of hard work and you're not exactly sure how to tackle it. Let's keep going. We'll see with the other context cards. We have the Sun as the heart of the matter, which is the card of truth and happiness. Things shining out the clearer. Things being joyful. So that's a very good sign, pile number 3, that I think your fortunes are about to change if you're also feeling lost because you feel like things haven't been going your way recently. But let's keep going. We'll see what else pops out. We have the Knight of Good Cheer reversed, which is the Knight of Cups reversed in one of the advice positions. Okay, and he often deals with taking actions regarding our emotions or with relationships, but reversed, a Knight of Good Cheer or Cups can also mean having some struggles in this particular area, or court cards do sometimes represent people, so we'll talk about that more later. And last but not least, we have the Holly King, and I believe that is the Emperor, yes, because it's number 4. And he came out reversed. So the Emperor reversed, pile number 3, is your last card. He often deals with structure and authority and masculine energy, but reversed, it might be a piece of advice, just like the Knight of Cups reversed is. So looking at this in totality, and the spread is a little bit different than my typical 5-card spread if you're familiar with my other videos. I did make the positions for these cards very specific to this feeling lost reading. So the first position, pile number 3, represents why are you feeling lost? And we already explored that quite a lot, so I won't repeat it too much. But with the World being in that position, what that means is you're feeling lost, as I said, because of wanting something to end or trying to get to the end of something or trying to like move into like a new phase, but you're not 100% sure how to tackle any of that. Okay, so I think really it's not so much a general like I'm lost in life sort of feeling that you're having. It's like a specific situation where you're like, man, I have no clue what to do. I'm so lost with this. What do I do in order to bring something to fruition or bring something to an end or close one chapter and open another? That's the sensation I'm getting from that particular card, okay? And then with more context, we have in the second position, which represents what is causing the confusion, that 8 of Pentacles, that card of hard work, pile 3. What that means to me as a tarot reader is part of what's causing your confusion is I think you've been pouring a lot of blood and sweat and tears and effort into things. So some of you, especially if you're feeling lost, is around, okay, why am I not at the end of this thing? Why am I not done with this thing? It's because you're sitting there thinking like, well, God, I put so much effort into this. How come I'm not at that result yet? Or how come this is still going on? Why am I not moving on? Or why is life not moving on past this particular issue or this thing that I want to get done? Or, how much more, you might ask yourself, do I have to put into this thing when I've already put so much of myself into it? Okay, so that's part of the confusion, is it's a lostness caused by feeling like, well, I've already done enough. Why do I need to do more, or what do I need to do more to get this off the ground, or, et cetera, get it done, finish it, next chapter, et cetera, as I was saying. Okay, so yeah, I think out of all the piles today, pile 3 years is maybe a bit more of a tangible thing, right? A lot of other piles are more internal, but that doesn't mean that there isn't internal advice here. You do have some internal advice on bringing this thing to fruition and getting things back on track again towards where you want them to go. So in the very central of your spread, we have the sun. And the sun in that position is the heart of the matter. So that's similar to my other videos if you watch them, but it also is the first piece of guidance from your spirit guides. And as I said, the sun represents happiness. It represents joy. It also represents truth. So pile number 3, advice number 1, or piece of advice number 1, I should say, is your spirit guides are saying, when was the last time you looked at what makes you happy regarding the thing that you're trying to accomplish or do? What brings you joy in this situation? And even if your answer is absolutely nothing, like say it's just this grueling project at work, you're being asked to analyze, well, why does this bring you no joy? It's one of these cards that it's not so much that I, as the tarot reader, have the answer. It's your spirit guides telling me to tell you, look in this direction, ask this question of yourself, and the answer you find is the answer that your spirit guides give you. Okay, so that one does require a bit of internal searching. So ask yourself with the situation, when's the last time I felt joy with this particular thing I'm doing, or where I am with this? And if there is no joy, why? We also, too, of course, have the element of truth with the sun because it represents light. Is there something in this situation, pile 3, where you're not 100% acknowledging the truth of it? You're not 100% understanding or seeing, maybe is a better word to say, what is the full truth of what's going on? Okay, there's something there, and we might see this more with your oracle cards as well. They probably will provide more context, pile 3, but there's something there where I think they're saying to really closely look at the truth of things, and that will help you further define the landscape ahead that will take you to where you want to go. Okay. And then in the near future position, or this particular spread, it's also like a reassurance, kind of your next step. You have the Knight of Cups reversed. I think this is why, pile number 3, you were being asked to think about what's really actually bringing you joy. Because what does a knight do? Or a Knight of Cups, I should say, do, pile 3. He takes action based on his emotions and his relationships. So they're saying, pile 3, acknowledge how you're feeling, especially regarding the themes of joy and happiness. And then, don't just throw it in the trash and say, well, yeah, it sucks. Okay. Acknowledge, yes, maybe I'm not feeling joy here. Or if you are feeling joy, at least in some aspect, say, okay, well, this is the thing I find enjoyable. Then take action on that emotion. Okay. That is your guiding star right now, is where is there joy? Where is there no joy? And then take action to address that. So where you find joy, pile 3, keep following that. Take actions in that direction of that joy. If you have no joy whatsoever in the situation that's going on, ask yourself, what would it take for me to feel joy again? And then take action based on that, because that's what a Knight of Cups reversed really means, pile number 3, is spirit guides are saying you're not following your heart enough. You're not taking enough action based on your heart and how you feel. Maybe you've been kind of stuffing your feelings down, and, full understanding, pile number 3, we often do that. Everyone does that, especially when it comes to things with like work, because it's all related to survival. We ask ourselves, well, yeah, maybe I don't 100% like something, but I gotta grin and bear it. I just gotta get through it, which is admirable in some ways, pile 3, because yes, tenacity is a good quality, and working through hardship is a good quality, but not at the expense of acknowledging our feelings and honoring our feelings, and especially our heart. So that's what the Knight of Cups tells you. He says you need to honor your heart. It might also, pile 3, as I said, court cards can sometimes represent people. A Knight of Cups reversed might represent that there's a person in the situation that your spirit guides are giving you advice on that is, tends to be maybe sort of between 30s, 40s or so. Maybe tends to be masculine energy, and being a Cups card, he is probably a water sign. If you're finding that that is resonating with someone involved in this situation, then I would say, pile number 3, that there's some negative influence that person has on the situation because he is reversed. So sometimes that can mean like emotional immaturity or taking actions that are impulsive based off of emotions that maybe has been causing some chaos. Maybe that's what's been disrupting the joy in what's going on. And you're like, well, how the heck do I minimize his influence over what's going on here towards the goal that I'm trying to achieve or the end I'm trying to bring about? Okay. So we'll see what the Oracle cards say. But there is a bit of advice here, especially if you're finding that resonating, but also for those of you that maybe don't see that as a person necessarily, there is really good advice here too, just with the Emperor reversed at the very end. So as I said, he represents masculine energy. He represents control and power and authority, okay, the tangible, all of those things. And him being reversed is also a piece of advice, especially being the 5th position, which is like the outcome / like the final reassurance card for you today from your spirit guides. What will also help pile 3 is providing more structure. So like, for example, this might not resonate with all of you, but just hear me out. If, say, you recognize this Knight of Cups reversed as a person, you're like, oh, God, this guy's impulsive. He keeps, acting on emotions and they're kind of immature. He's not really doing what he's supposed to be doing. Maybe it's even kind of, depending on where you're at in life, pile 3, maybe this person is almost like a mentee role to you, or like an intern, or like an employee underneath you, or something like that. I don't know, or maybe a younger person in your family, or I don't know. You know your situation more than I, but in that case, the Emperor reverse next to him would mean to help provide more structure and control around this person, either in the way of helping them find more structure and control over things, or maybe you have to put up more safeguards around this person if they're causing too much chaos, in that you need to assert your authority and your control more and say, no, this is the boundary here. Okay, that's another thing emperors do, pile 3, is they assert boundaries. They say, no, we're not going to do this anymore. We're going to do this instead. Or these are your boundaries. This is the sandbox I'm giving you. You work within this sandbox. Don't move outside of it. Okay, that's kind of what an emperor would do, pile 3. And in general, too, even if you don't recognize that as a person in the situation, it's just general advice from your spirit guides that what would help you feel less lost is to define things more. Okay? Give things more structure. Give things, more definition, I guess, is another way of putting that. And also assert your authority and your power as well. That's another thing an Emperor reversed would tell you from your spirit guides, pile 3, is you need to assert yourself more, okay? Because an Emperor upright would not let anyone boss him around. He'd be like, no, I'm the Emperor, I'm the king. You're going to listen to what I do or what I say. Okay, so in a situation, where maybe you're finding that it could be even like authority or power that's being, usurped from you a little bit, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself and put your foot down and say, well, wait a minute. No, that's my power. Don't tread on me, okay? Things like that, okay? Which can also mean following your heart, too. Because if you're not acknowledging that you feel trampled on, then how can you take action towards not being trampled on anymore? You have to acknowledge the feeling exists first before you can say, well, wait a minute. Well, I gotta do something about this now because now this thing is bothering me because I acknowledged the feeling and I realized, well, this is a problem, really. So things like that. Let's look, though, too, of course, at your Oracle cards, pile number 3. So maybe part of acknowledging the truth in the situation is acknowledging that that Knight of Cups has been causing some issues, or acknowledging that maybe, you need to assert more authority over things where you can, right? Many different ways that truth can represent itself. From the Healing Spirits Oracle, we have spirit healers and helpers are with you. And look at that, we have number 11. Beautiful. Which I always associate with angels because it is an angel number, right? 1111. Okay, spirit healers and helpers are with you. So that is just a confirmation. Pile 3, which, I mean, when cards like this come out, it's extra emphasis. Because I personally believe that healers and helpers are with us all times. Your spirit guides are never that far away. They're always watching over you, pile number 3, okay? They always care about what's going on. They're always vigilant. But they're especially telling you in this situation where you've been feeling lost, they are around you right now. I think because it is probably a pivotal part of your life at this point, right? You do have some major arcana here, especially with the... Oh, I forgot to mention that. You have the World, the Sun, and the Emperor. 3 major arcana cards. As a tarot reader, to me, that tends to represent that. This is quite a pivotal moment of your life, this feeling lost that you're trying to navigate back to clarity with, so... Of course, they're going to be around times like this. Then we have knowledge. Ignorant versus knowing. Well, speaking of truth, pile number 3, that's another emphasis from your spirit guides that what would really help you in this situation is to gain more knowledge, to not shy away from truth. I think some of you might be shying away from a truth of some sort. And it's not to be ashamed of, pile 3. It's not a, how dare you not acknowledge this thing. Sometimes we legitimately, we don't acknowledge truth because we don't know the truth. So then we first have to think, we have to admit that there's something that we don't know and that we want to seek more truth on. Therefore, by the action of acknowledging it, just like the emotions thing, we then realize, oh yes, there is something to seek. So then I will go out and I will seek it. Okay, so seek knowledge, seek truth. Also, too, if you find there is a truth that you're shying away from, specifically this card does have someone holding her hands over her eyes, like she's blinding herself. Sometimes ignorance is not bliss, pile number 3. And what I mean when I say that is, once again, there's something in the situation they keep emphasizing that you need to acknowledge in terms of the truth that will help you immeasurably regarding feeling less lost. Okay? Let's see what the other cards say. They might provide even more insight here. Let's grab your surrender card. Okay, well this one is like pick me. We have surrender stress. No wonder why you've been stressed. You had that 8 of Pentacles. Remember I said blood, sweat, and tears? It says, take a few deep breaths and exhale the tension you've been building up in your body. Let the stress go as you come back to your center. So that's another thing, pile 3. I think, too, maybe part of your feeling lost is just mental stress, too. Sometimes when at least I know personally, when I'm extremely mentally stressed, I am not thinking clearly. I am not thinking of, I'm not as good at brainstorming ways out of something or ways of achieving certain goals because I'm just focused on, oh my God, I'm so stressed. I just got to reduce my stress. And you're probably the same. I think everyone is, pile number 3, where, we kind of get caught in the fog of anxiety and then it's hard to know where to go or what to do if we're this burned out and stressed out. That's another thing that really is popping forward for you prominently, pile 3. I'm hearing at least intuitively is I think you're a little bit burnt out. That maybe is why that 8 of Pentacles popped up. Maybe you're feeling lost because you're also working too dang hard. Okay, also, that's another thing too. Maybe sometimes we get so mired in the nitty gritty and, nose to the grindstone work of life in career, what you do in general, that we don't acknowledge truths because we're so caught in the thick of things that we don't see everything with a bird's eye view. So that's another thing. Maybe take a look at the situation with the perspective of a bird's eye view, a little bit far removed from it. It might even help you to ask someone that's not related to the situation that you're feeling lost in and say, from an objective outside perspective, how do you see this and what would you do if you were me? That might also help, pile 3. And then your Lantern Oracle, 44, we have consciousness is light. We have that light symbolism again, which, admittedly is prominent throughout this whole oracle because it's called the Lantern Oracle, Duh, it's light, right? But this card especially, though, she's holding 2 lanterns on her arms, but she's blind. That's the funny thing. She's blindfolded, but she still is able to see where she's going. Consciousness is light. Now that card, I'm going to draw just one more tarot card on for clarity. Speaking of light. Because I want to know. That one's a little bit more of a nebulous meaning. Spirit guides, what do you mean? Can you clarify a little bit on the Lantern card? I know what it means from a spiritual perspective. Okay, that was fast. What do you mean with the Lantern card here? Thank you. We have the Four of Wands or candles. The home, celebration. Stability is also another word used with the Four of Wands, because 4 does... Oh, speaking of, yeah, it is 44. I just noticed that, duh. 4 of Candles or Wands, and the 44 is the card in that deck from the Lantern Oracle. Speaking of stability, right? Yeah, that probably might be related to the Emperor card, as I was saying before, pile 3, where defining more structure and asserting more authority might help in the situation. Maybe even if, like I said, you do recognize that Knight of Cups is a person, that's really what it is providing stability might help that person, okay? I also feel like... Oh, I'm getting an intuitive message. One moment, pile 3. Apologies for just a second of silence here. They're saying something about watching how much you provide for others versus yourself. I think that's related to that Emperor authority message too. It's like you need to put your foot down more, okay? I think that's what your Lantern card means in general too, because what does a lantern do but provide light and shine and shed light on things, which is a prominent message throughout your entire reading here, pile 3. I mean, you have the Sun and Surrender Stress. You literally got the Sun card. And then also knowledge is like taking hands off the eyes. And then even, you know, the blindfold message here or imagery in your Lantern card. There's someone in this situation that's had a blindfold on that needs to be pulled off, okay? As I said, ignorance is not always bliss. You know, maybe that's that Knight of Cups person. Maybe they need a blindfold taken off and said, well, hey, wait a minute. Let's get you back on the right path here. Or it could also mean, too, that, you know, you yourself is the one with the blindfold, pile 3. And your spirit guides are saying, please take the blindfold off on this situation and see the truth of what's going on, because that will help you immeasurably. And then, too, there is that theme of stability. You know, maybe it is that you give too much to other people for their stability and they don't give enough back to you or to themselves to provide their own stability. Okay, that's another way you might need to put your foot down. Oh, duh, I just noticed this too. I'm an idiot. You know who else is number 4? The Emperor. You have the number 4 repeated a lot, pile 3. I just noticed that. Okay, other than me just noticing that at the very end here. Yes, so... look for, if you're looking for signs from your spirit guides to pile 3, look for the number 4. Also 11, that's an angel number, right? But the number 4 might be really prominent for you, or it might be something that means, you know, something like deeply to the situation going on. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so choose truth, pile 3. Choose to assert your authority. Choose light. Choose... You know, we also have the joy message too. What provides you joy? What doesn't provide you joy? Analyze that and take action based on what your heart says in that way. And then you'll find the end to the thing that you're wanting to end or the goal that you're trying to achieve, all right? Beautiful. So that was your message today on when you're feeling lost. I hope that it helped you. Number 1, that's my main concern and priority with these readings. That's my main goal. But also that you liked it, that it resonated with your situation. And if so, please like, comment, subscribe. You know the whole YouTube spiel. You know the drill. I just say it because it does help immeasurably when you do any one of those things, if not more. So thank you so much if you choose to do so. And as is our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 3.